Hi everyone! So the case I'm briefing today is the case that Gucci America filed back in 2011 against Wang, a resident of China, and this is a trademark infringement case. What we have here is basically a group of plaintiffs that are very well-known luxury manufacturers. They are Gucci, Balenciaga, and Bottega Veneta, who are suing a resident of China, Wang, for trademark infringement. Wang owns and operates 28 online websites, and he sells on those websites items that are very similar to the original Gucci, Balenciaga, and Bottega, but yet they are not real. Those items include handbags, shoes, umbrellas, hats, jewelry, etc. Obviously, such activity has caused the plaintiffs financial losses as well as damaged reputation. So in this case, they are seeking statutory damages, cost of the suit, and a permanent injunction against the defendant. The defendant has been notified by email, since he does not live in the country, about the lawsuit. However, he failed to reply in any way. He never showed up to court, and the plaintiffs here are asking to grant the default judgment against the defendant. We have three issues here. First issue is of the court. Did the United States District Court of Northern District of California, where the lawsuit has been filed, have personal jurisdiction over someone who does not live in the United States based only on the internet sales? The second issue has to do with the trademark infringement. Did defendant counterfeit and infringe plaintiff's trademarks? And the third issue, did defendant falsify designation of origin of the goods sold? So for the first issue here, the rule of law is the following. Under California long arm statute, federal courts in California may exercise jurisdiction to the extent permitted by the Due Process Clause of the Constitution. The Due Process Clause allows federal courts to exercise jurisdiction where defendant has had sufficient minimum contacts with the forum. For the second issue, the rule of law is the following. To prevail on the claim for trademark infringement, a holder of a registered service mark must show that another person is using any reproduction, counterfeit, copy, or colorable imitation of a mark without the registrant's consent in commerce, in connection with the sale, offering for sale, distribution, or advertising of any goods where such use is likely to cause confusion among consumers. And for the third issue, the rule of the law is the following. To prevail in an action for false designation of origin, a plaintiff must show that the terms or logos in question are valid and protectable trademarks, that the plaintiff owns the trademarks and uses them in commerce, and that the defendant used terms or designs similar to plaintiff's marks without the consent of the plaintiff in a manner that is likely to cause confusion among consumers. For the application of law, here the court has utilized the sliding scale analysis in order to prove that there was sufficient minimum contact made between the defendant and the forum. And plaintiffs here have presented copies of the web pages to show that the web pages are in fact interactive. The plaintiffs have also hired a private investigator to make an online order from one of the websites, which also proves that the websites are interactive, and that was sufficient to show that the minimum contacts have been made. Therefore, the district court had the jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction over the defendant based on the internet activity. For the second issue here, plaintiffs have provided trademark registrations to prove that they are the respective owners of the marks Gucci, Balenciaga, and Bottega. And also, they, as I previously mentioned, hired a private investigator to make an online order from the website. They did show proof that the defendant owns the websites, all 28 of them, and that the item that the private investigator ordered, that was a wallet, a fake Gucci wallet, was determined to be fake, and that was enough to show that defendant is guilty of the trademark infringement. And finally, plaintiffs have presented evidence that they own 22 marks that satisfying first two elements of the claim, and plaintiffs have presented the evidence that they use marks in commerce, and that the defendant used the same designs, copies of the designs of the plaintiffs without the consent of the plaintiffs, and that activity has definitely confused regular consumers who had no idea that the items that they were ordering online were in fact not real. In conclusion, on January 5, 2011, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California held that it had personal jurisdiction over the defendant, and that court granted default judgment against the defendant on plaintiff's trademark infringement and false designation of original claims. Statutory damages, prejudgment interest, and cost compensations were awarded to each plaintiff.